Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of shit. Oh man, we're so good at Tokihogushi now. We're back to not remembering the art name. Oh well, whatever. Back with some more console art goodness. Last time we saw corruption at the police force, like right in our face. Um, damn that chief. And we got some Rena friend lore happening. So interesting stuff, but let's just get right into it. No styling. Days later, a certain detective summarized this incident in a single sentence. Oh, yeah. Jesus. I wouldn't, personally. Hey, yo, classic Aiden. Stopping one sentence before the chapter end. How do we manage to do it every single time? Hint? Or is this gonna be one of those big arcs? It might be one of those big arcs at the first arc in concerts where it just keeps going and there's no like chapter break chapters. It's just one big chapter. Saturday, October 9th, 1982, somewhere in Tokyo. We're in Tokyo! Yay! Even though he was her boss, Tomoe was approaching the limits of her patience. In fact, they had been walking to the shop for over 30 minutes now. How did this happen? The interview at the TV station proceeded faster than expected, filming wrapped up just a little after noon. Even though she was strongly opposed to coming here, that she instigated a major brawl with Fujita and the others, the interview turned out easier than expected, and once it was over, she had no complaints. The only problem was what to do with their time afterwards. Tomoe pulled the reserved seat ticket from her wallet as she said that, then compared the printed time to the clock on the wall. Sorry, I was blowing my nose. Fucking allergies, man. It's killing me. I like how I muted and then I just unmuted and blew my nose again. Whoops. She's planning to take advantage of the upcoming holiday and head to her grandmother's house in Ibaraki after the interview is over. But looking at the departure time of the express train from Ueno, she had 3 hours to spare. Zoo! Oh. Zoos are always fun. Both were typical destinations for couples on a date. So how much fun could a single woman have doing on her own? Why, you don't like to see animals? Was he just messing with her? Based. It's my spot. I don't know how it was back then in the day. It might not be the weeb shit right at this moment. It was Akihabara's half weeb shit, half electronics when you go. In modern age, it might be just fully electronics. Though no, they have fucking Angel Mord in this universe, so this probably is some weeb shit there. She had no plans to interact with Electronic District anytime soon. But she had a feeling that it would be a completely different world 20 or so years from now. Okay, so I was right. It's actually full of electronics and no weeb shit there. Huh. Imagine. Oh man, imagine if it's an angel mort. That'd be funny. Normally she would have refused. However, Tomoe did feel a sense of accomplishment for finishing the day's work, and more importantly, it was just before payday, so Tomoe decided to go with Yamamoto. Fair enough. You were a fool. How can you trust this man? He traded out your integrity for a golf club. She clicked her tongue without thinking and quickly shut her mouth. Realizing that was a rude thing to say, she took a peek around Yamamoto's back and was relieved to see that he hadn't heard anything. Still, she honestly never thought he'd be taking her this far away, so she struggled to suppress the feeling of regret, and of course she was hungry too. She started to think it would have been better to decline his invitation and head to a nearby hamburger joint on her own. That's a Moss burger. Huh. Okay. Well, it's not lying. Even while continuing their conversation, Yamamoto was walking in the lead, looking back and forth while periodically checking on a handwritten map. His unreliability was slowly irritating her. Jesus, I definitely couldn't do that, to be honest. Tomoe quickly grew fed up with his recitation and cut him off, then let out a sigh. Sure. The content of the interview was surprisingly vanilla, completely standard fare. Mostly regarding Tomoe's normal workload and how she spent her days off. They painted an image of her typical workday and edited it together with footage from her training at the police academy, which was provided by the Public Relations Office. On the other hand, they weren't particularly interested in professional topics like investigation methodology, so the notes she prepared were completely useless. But she wasn't very thrilled about disclosing specific details on investigation protocols anyway, so she was thankful their conversation didn't get too complex. However, she was also disappointed that all her preparation had gone to waste. Even though she so thoroughly rejected the topic about women's empowerment and expanded rights, they did frequently ask along that theme, but she stayed silent. Based? I don't know, it's weird. The TV station asked if a female police officer chosen as a member of the recommended group was having a difficulty with men in police society and what she was doing to overcome those obstacles. I mean, to be honest, maybe that's a thing, but for Tomoe, she definitely does not have that problem. They wanted to appeal to housewives with something along those lines, but she would be damned if she was used for propaganda, so in the end she gave vague answers and completely ignored it. They felt no shame or guilt about twisting the content to make it more interesting. That was just the case now, as it was the old days for the mass media. It confirmed Tomoe's stance that she didn't like their way of thinking and made her feel she couldn't trust them. More media hate in this art. Hype! Tomoe recognized that there were physical differences between men and women, so it's foolish to think that they could produce completely equal results in the first place. True. Most of her male superiors and colleagues have been doing business as usual without giving female workers extreme discrimination or cold treatment. That's good. In reality, it was probably still present, but Tomoe didn't really see it, so she was convinced it wasn't there. Fair enough, I guess. It definitely does happen, but I like her mindset. Oh, you're fortunate. Oh, I don't know why I'm reading.
その意味ではプロデューサーの言いたいこともわからないではない。確かにそうかもしれません。私の場合は逆に女であったからこそ活躍の機会をいただけたこともありました。
Blasted. Especially when she was assigned to the youth division back when she first became an officer. Using her position as a woman allowed her to connect with young women who have struggled to open up to a man. Women are a little more open-minded with other women to an extent, and willing to listen. Skipping school, delinquency, minor offenses, they weren't isolated incidents. These were girls who had problems at home. Tomoe was sometimes strict around those girls, sometimes tried to appeal to their parents, and provided guidance and encouragement, patiently keeping in touch with them and consulting with them every day. Sometimes they betrayed her along the way, sometimes they violently retaliated. And even after all she did, in the end there were cases where she couldn't save them, more than she could even remember. She felt intense sorrow and regret every single time. On the other hand, the girls who turned things around would write her letters, and she'd stop by the shops and facilities where they worked to see them smiling. It made her tremendously happy. Even though word about Tomoe's honest and sincere work ethic carried through her evaluations, her superiors and section-chiefs would always dote on her because she was a woman. That's why when she was aiming to become a detective, she was also worried they'd be supporting her for that same reason. True, all women are emotional. I'm joking. 事件捜査に当たる際は少年指導員の時よりも2歩か3歩引いて考えるくらいがちょうどいいぞ。2歩3歩ですか？ああ、それは手抜きだと君は思うかもしれないがね。あまり熱心になりすぎると後で辛いぞ。In fact, things ended up just like that. The first case she was involved with as a detective involved a man who was repeatedly stabbed at home. The culprit was a woman roughly the same age as Tomoe who was having an affair with the victim. She seemed quiet and obedient during the initial round of questioning, so Tomoe was convinced there's no way it could be her. So when her boss and superiors began investigating her as a possible suspect, she fought back against them for not believing her. However, the female employee later confessed to the crime and was arrested. She said she committed the crime herself after he broke up with her. Owned? And on top of that, she was pregnant. What the fuck? Tomoe who... Okay, so she was actually being overly emotional, huh? Tomoe, who carefully considered the despair and helplessness the culprit felt, as a female employee, rebuked the victim's disloyalty with those words. But on the other hand, not only was the bereaved family stricken with grief from the loss of a husband and a father, but the words of his infidelity got out. As a result, sympathy the family received from others turned to curiosity and derision. They ended up selling their house a year later and moving far away. But if the case had remained unsolved, that pitiable family employee wouldn't have gone to prison. Okay, no, she should get consequences for literally stabbing someone to death. I get it. The results aren't what you want. It's really fucked up that the victim's family got ostracized for the husband cheating and getting killed. It had nothing to do with them, but yeah, it's just unfortunate. But no, she shouldn't get away for stabbing a person to death. That's dumb. The pitiable female employee wouldn't have gone to prison, and the victim's family could have grieved for him without losing their love for him, then moved on with their lives. The police shattered their peaceful illusions, leaving nothing else behind. I don't agree with this. Fuck that. Fuck the murder, man. No killing. It's definitely... I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say... I mean, I don't know. The justified killing stuff. This definitely wasn't justified, by the way. Thinking about it made her uncomfortable. Tomoe looked up once again and stared back at the back of the man in front of her. The person who solved the woman's problem. Even now, it was hard to believe, but it was actually the man walking in front of her, Yamotai. Oh, there you go. Or lore. At the time, Yamotai was serving as a public security commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Agency. Tomoe understood that it would be difficult to consult with someone about the man's incident, but there's nobody else she could talk to. And when her worries piled up, she asked him for advice. Yamotai made time outside of work hours for her. Oops, didn't mean to skip. At the time, she thought all that mattered was investigating the crimes and arresting culprits. She believed that by doing that properly, she could clear the consciousness of the people left behind, and the criminals could receive a reward fitting for their crimes. But what about the outcome of this particular case? Excuse me. The case was settled, but it didn't make anyone happy. And if that's the case, for whose sake did the police investigate the case in the first place? Probably for the victim who died. Tomoe was taken aback by what Yamotai said. She expected him to comfort her or to say not to worry about it, but she never expected him to say something contrary to that. Completely contrary. True? I'm sure there's a lot of cases where you can sympathize with the culprit. Yeah.
そして君が今話してくれた事件のように新たな問題と19が生まれ出る可能性も決して低くはないだろう。はい。しかしそこに市場を挟むことなく
True.
刑事は常に中立で公平でなければ
Just part of the job.
犯人にも被害者にもその家族にもそして法に対してもな。だからこそ人は不幸な事件に遭遇した時には正義の規範として警察を頼り、そして犯罪に走りそうになる輩はその存在を意識して自らを律する。正義。
When he said that, she didn't hear the words so much as she felt them. The words coming from his mouth had a mysterious, majestic feeling to them.
でもその結果として誰も幸せにならなかったとしてもですか？そうだ。
Himote answered that question in a powerful tone.
法や正義は常に一定で不変であるからこそ人々はそれを遵守しようと考える。
Based law enjoyer?
そしてその枠から外れてしまうような行為を違法や犯罪として戒めることができる。結果としてそれが大部分の人を救うことにつながるのだよ。
Crimes are caused by various motivations. Impulsive emotions, selfish calculation, misguided pleasure seeking. However, the cause and end result can never justify a crime. Otherwise, a person with a wicked intentions in similar circumstances would be able to easily justify a similar crime. Though the thought that it's not just me would erode their sense of guilt and self-control. It's not really turning a blind eye.
しかし簡単に答えを見出せるものでないことも確かだ。そのためにも巴君、君はもっと悩みたまえ。そして少数の悲劇をいかにすれば回避できるのか、自分なりの見解を出してみてはどうかね。山沖さん。それに君は自分が感情的だと言ったが、優しさを失った人間に刑事の資格はない。
That's true too.
その意味はきっと刑事を続けるうちに理解できるようになる。だから君は今の考え方をこれからも忘れずに持ち続けることだ。はい。あの時はそれなりに感動したのにな。
And now, she let out a sigh. She wanted to let it all out. It was hard to believe that the same man from back then was normally such a factitious, lazy, and spontaneous person. She suddenly turned away, trying to chase away the memories that came to mind a moment ago. She was embarrassed. 地図だともう付近まで来ている。だからおそらくこの辺りのはずなんだが。せっかくですが、私もう一人で。Owned. She said that intending to part ways with him, but just that moment.
え、ここですか?
Angel Morts. Classic. Himote was looking up with a sense of accomplishment, and Tomoe turned to look at the same direction. It looked like an ordinary family restaurant. It certainly seemed popular, though. A line of people extended out the entrance and down the sidewalk. However, the people there had an unusual air about them. That's one way. Oh, and a stench that Tomoe never tasted before. She can't help but frown. Oh, rip weebs.
ここが本当に東京でも指折りの店なんですか? ああ、 チェーン店なんだがね、味もサービスもなかなかの評判だ。
No Shion though, so it's LL.
君は知らなかったのか？いえ、私はこういう店はあまり。
Cooking for herself was more economical than going out to eat at family restaurants, and Tomoe was confident in her cooking skills. So Tomoe didn't go out to eat much after finishing school, aside from hamburgers.
まあまあ、見ない君。先入観で決めつけてはよくないぞ。
That's true.
疑ってかかるのはまず入ってからにしないか。はあ。
Even so, the stench was extremely suspicious. And when it came to family restaurants, she had a strong impression they were just heating up frozen, ready-made products. In which case, it would be better to just buy a boxed lunch at a convenience store. You can eat a delicious lunch here at a chain restaurant. It seemed unbelievable. Okay, you're just hating at this point. What do you mean at a chain restaurant? You can obviously eat good food at chain restaurants. And what they mean by family restaurants is it's like you order a bunch of things, right? It's not like a one meal thing. You order like a bunch of small things. I think that's how it works. Get pranked. Oh, bringing my coworker, my coworker to a bad restaurant and calling it good prank. Haha, really got her. With that thought in mind, Tomoe turned to the store again with a dubious expression. Then she suddenly noticed the poster next to the stairs leading up to the entrance and carefully focused her eyes to read it. Fall Dessert Festival in session, Tokyo area exclusive menu. Private event today, please present invitation upon entry. Oh my god, he has it ready. An invitation like this posted out of his pocket. Good one. Yamote pulled a ticket out of his inner jacket pocket as he said that and proudly waved it around for some reason. There were colorful pattern printed on the ticket, and the dessert festival invitation was written there in a lovely font. Though she said that, Tomoe wasn't sure how valuable it actually was, so she didn't know how to express her gratitude. Though Tomoe still felt something out of place about the tremendously bright pink exterior wall, for the time being she decided to take the initiative and open the door. Then she followed Yamote inside. And the moment she stepped inside the lobby of the restaurant, welcome home. A young waitress who must have been ready and waiting greeted Tomoe and Yamote with a big smile on her face, then deeply bowed her head. That much was completely ordinary reaction. However, the thing that took Tomoe by surprise was what she was wearing. It was a maid outfit that went far beyond the line of cuteness into erotic. Home. Master. Then Yamote pulled his police notebook out of his breast pocket, and from there he pulled out a bright holographic card that sparkled in 7 different colors. The waitress's eyes opened wide the moment she saw it. But just a moment later, a huge smile returned to her face. She grabbed both the ends of her skirt and deeply bowed in an even more submissive and courteous manner than before. Overseas? What? What is this? All the maids in the store serving tables and handling orders in the kitchen area turned to face the entrance. Grand Duke of Rochefort. Just like that, they all burst out chanting a greeting in unison. And then Yamotai calmly remained still while answering them with a nod. However, the dubious look. Tomoe was feeling completely out of place. She was frozen where she stood. The music. Tomoe finally came free from the spell entrapping her and shouted loud enough to echo throughout the entire store. The guests in line all immediately turned toward the entrance in response, but Yamotai must have anticipated this reaction because he remained completely composed. Huh. I actually want to know about that. Oh my god. 100,000 visiting points. Oh god. Super VIP. Yeah, they're making a scene. Tomoe shouted with enough force that blood vessels on her temple were about to burst. No, wait a minute. What if this was the real purpose of this business trip to Tokyo? Extremely based. Tomoe desperately fought the urge to punch something, but not wanting to get any more involved, she turned on her heels and put a hand on the knob of the front door. No. Yeah, come on. Don't be a party pooper. Oh? After vigorously spewing that and turning toward the waitress, Tomoe's anger quickly faded as her gaze fixated on a single point. The waitress was spreading out the menu before Tomoe's eyes, and inside were photos of vibrant, beautiful, delicious-looking multicolored sweets with colorful decorations. She's caught! Tomoe was a woman after all, so there's no way she could hate sweets. In fact, she loved them. Not only that, but since she was feeling hungry at the moment, her appetite for them was 2, maybe 3 times stronger than usual. She had never seen such a beautiful flower garden of sweets in a normal restaurant. She rushed to wipe away the saliva that was about to drip from her mouth, but her eyes didn't turn away from the menu even for a moment. True, true. Usually pictures on menus are kind of overhyped. Thanks to some impeccable timing, a fresh cake came out of the kitchen being pushed on a handcart, and it passed directly in front of Tomoe. Even though it only passed her by for a moment, the sweet, rich fragrance drifting towards her completely robbed her of her senses. And not only that, but the vivaciously colorful design was burned into her retinas. She had purchased cakes several times in her life as a modest luxury to celebrate a milestone, but they couldn't even compare. In fact, wouldn't it be outrageously audacious to compare them at all? Isn't it, like, funny? Because I believe, like, the description of the Angel Mort food by, like, Keiichi and some other people were that it's actually average, and people just came for the maids. But maybe in Tokyo, the food's actually also good too. I guess Kameda likes him, and he's a cake expert, so. Yes. Even as Tomoe screamed that in her head, her eyes remained fixated on the cake being carried to the table. She was starting to feel bloodlust toward the ecstatic customer sitting in front of the colorful cake. Is that what they call this cake? With all the fruit decorated on top, you can't even see the surface. Yummy. She's casting a spell? Yo. We broke her. The voice change. And at last, Tomoe finally abandoned her pride. After saying that, Tomoe turned to look away. However, she happily enjoyed eating sweets to her heart's content. Every time Tomoe's cheeks seemed to puff out, she poured some black coffee down her throat. Of course, she already ingested a ridiculous number of calories. She considered going for a swim tomorrow at the public pool, but as she thought about that, she signaled the waitress to pour her some more coffee. 4 whole cakes. Jesus, how does she do that? I don't think I can eat 4 whole cakes, considering they're like even a small cake size. I could probably kill a cake, honestly, but 4 is kind of crazy. Although Yamote handled it as though he expected as much, even after watching Tomoe's gluttony with his own eyes, he showed no signs of being upset. She wasn't particularly interested in boasting about her gluttony, but it was awkward how he easily accepted it. Tomoe's expression hardened as soon as she heard that name. She picked up her cup, but the cup was still too hot, so she sat it back down on the saucer and took a drink from the cold cup next to it. Yusuke was her father's name. Oh, what do you mean?
複雑な気分ですが。よく覚えているぞ。過激派の立てこもる山荘への突入作戦では危険も顧みずよく働いてくれた。放水と夜の寒さで警視庁と地元警察の刑事全員が震える中、カップラーメンをかっくらいながらみんなをどやしつけていた姿、今でも忘れてはいない。
Police use of firearms were severely restricted by law. It's reserved exclusively for dangerous criminals. So the means of fighting the criminal group in the mountain villa was to discharge water at them and let the winter cold take care of them. However, the criminals opened fire at them, and apparently some of the officers died in the line of duty back then. Her father would always say, "I'll keep on going as a police officer for their share, anytime you drink alcohol," yet ironically he ended up following their footsteps not even a year later.
家でも父はカップラーメンが好きでした。私もよく勝負だとかなんとか言って早食いに付き合わされたものです。まどかは逃げていましたね。
Incidentally, Tomoe never did beat her father in those competitions. He was an overwhelmingly voracious eater. However, thanks to that, he was scolded by like hell, by his doctor and wife every time he had a checkup.
すまんな、この話をぶり返して。こうやって君と二人で話をするのも久しぶりだったものでな。ですね。
Imote and Tomoe didn't always have such a harsh relationship. In fact, she would greet him anytime she got a promotion and consulted with him whenever she found a clue related to her father's case. Even since long ago, he was the one police officer she trusted and respected the most. Rip Oishi.
いろいろと情報をくださったこと感謝しています。おかげで自分一人では絶対にわからなかったこともつかむことができて、今も続けることができています。
Meeting Yamotai was one of the reasons that Tomoe decided to pursue becoming a police officer. When her younger sister Madoka ran away, Tomoe lost her purpose for living, but then she met Oishi and learned more about her father's incident. Oh, Oishi flashback. After searching for Madoka for a while, after her sudden disappearance, while thoroughly exhausted and being berated by the rain, she met Oishi for the first time. Out of concern for her, he escorted her home. And then she looked up in surprise when she learned said home was actually his own destination. Ooh.
ここがあなたの家？じゃあ、あなたがミナイさんの娘さんですか？
はい、長女の巴です。
そうですか。いや、すみませんね。亡くなられていた
Probably not me though, and we should be seeing this arc.
最近だったもので。
Nice to see him though.
お線香をあげさせてもらってもよろしいでしょうか？
はい。どうぞ。
Then after explaining the situation to her grandmother, Oishi entered the house and clapped his hands together in front of the Buddhist altar in the living room. She couldn't make out his facial expressions very well from behind, but she could hear a faint sigh that indicated how he was feeling. Oh my god. Isn't this Natsumi's house?
二人の娘さん、あなたたちの写真を肌身離さず持っていて、ずいぶん自慢されたものです。偉くなった時にはとびっきりの酒を送るって約束していたんですが。
Tears came gushing out of Tomoe's eyes. The grief she had been feeling all this time, combined with Madoka's disappearance, took a heavy toll on her, and it wouldn't stop. Damn it, she had already convinced herself she wouldn't cry in front of other people.
何があったのかは知りませんが、元気を出してください。 でないと殺されたご両親が浮かばれませんよ。
だったら父さんと母さんを殺した犯人捕まえてくださいよ。私たちの生活をめちゃめちゃにしてどこかでまだのうのうと生きているのに。
Tomoe knew it was unreasonable, but she couldn't help but lash out at Oishi, who was standing right in front of her. However, he paid it no heed, and instead put a hand on her shoulder to comfort her.
大丈夫ですよ。それは未来さんの同僚の方たちが今も必死に探してくれていますから、きっと捕まります。
His hand was large and very warm, and so tears came spilling from her eyes once again.
それで、ともえさんとおっしゃいましたね。実は私はあなたに少しお伺いしたいことがあるんです。
Do you believe in our Lord and Savior Yashiro-sama?
ですか。
ええ、未来さんが死ぬ間際まで追っていたとある事件のことです。私はそいつらが彼を殺害したと信じています。
After hearing Oishi say that, Tomoe couldn't help but gasp. She was speechless. Mom and Dad were murdered? It wasn't just a random crime from a reckless arsonist or vagrant, but a planned conspiracy?
今日はもう遅いですから、明日改めてお伺いします。その時、未来さんの上司だった方もここにお連れしますので、話聞かせてもらってもよろしいでしょうか。
And the next day, Oishi introduced her to Yamokai, who was her father's boss. That just went to show how they had full confidence in her. I know it's an emotional scene, but it's still funny. How would Tomoe's dad react in learning that Madoka's married his boss? And the one who encouraged her to become a police officer was none other than Yamokai. He asked if instead of relying on others, she wanted to carve out her fate with her own hands. That's why Tomoe was able to consult with him almost as though he were a parent. Their relationship only went sour after last year, only after he and Madoka. Yep. It's totally fair.
年がいもなくと責められるのももちろん承知の上だ。だが、その件では謝ってもらいたくないです。それを聞いたらあの子、きっと悲しむと思いますから。そうだな。
Yamokai said only that and understood everything. Madoka had already decided to marry Yamokai. If he felt any shame about it now, it could be seen as looking down on Madoka's feelings. No matter what she was thinking, she had already made up her mind.
むしろ感情的になって意固地になってあなたに失礼なことを言ってきたことは謝らせてください。あなたはずっと私にとって父のような存在でしたから。自分でもどう対応していいかがわからなくて、つい甘えてしまっていたのだと思います。いや、それは気にしなくてもいい。むしろ私はこの年まで独り身だったからな。親子ゲームのようなやりとりもなかなかに楽しいものだ。
Tomoe smiled awkwardly, but her attention lay elsewhere. Should she make certain of it right here and now? This was a great opportunity to ask Yamokai about the rumors and his feelings for Madoka. Do you truly love Madoka? Did Madoka ask you to do something for me? Yamokai had to know about the rumors regarding him and Madoka. If she asked about it, he would probably give a straight answer. However, she also understood that question was too wretched and despicable to ask. So Tomoe ended up swallowing the impulse and opted to ask him about something else.
前からいつか機会があれば知りたいと思っていたことです。正直に聞かせてください。
何かね。
あなたが去年警視庁の公安からこの柿内に来て、今年になって私も呼んでくださったのは、父の件で何か進展があったということですか？
Ever so slightly, Yamotai furrowed his eyebrows and stared straight ahead directly at Tomoe. However, she couldn't read anything from his facial expression.
どうしてそう考える？
だってそうでもなければ、私が関東管区局から中部管区局に異動になった理由がわかりません。
I know it's sudden, but I'm actually gonna have to dip out here, boys. We're deep in conversation, but yeah, I'm recording in the morning and I have something to do. I didn't realize we were 50 minutes deep, but still, long episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and next time we'll see why he invited Tomoe over to Kikuchi. But yeah, see ya. Peace.